Welcome to the virtual orientation for Camp Tri. It's one of our newer events here at Somersault. If you've done it before, we hope that you enjoy it again. And if you're new to it, we can't wait to see you at the start line for the first time. So we had this event last year in 2023. We had it in the same area, but a slightly different location. So if you did it last year, we hosted at Woodlands Beach. We're going to use the same bike course that everyone seemed to love, but we're going to move the swim and run location to another beach, kind of a new and improved site in the same area. So come take a look and see what you think. So for the sake of this virtual orientation, we'll break it into 5 sections, very chronological and very, very logical, I guess. We'll go and talk about the pre-race, everything that happens before the start line, then talk about the swim, the bike, the run, and post-race. There's a lot of content, so let's get to it. So pre-race, the event itself is being hosted at Mill Rush Beach. The address is there on the screen. It's really easy to find, right along the Long Sault Parkway, more on the northern or the eastern side, if you will. But if you come from the west side, still a nice drive to come through. If you want to use orientation in person, the day before the race, we'll be at Mill Rush Beach setting up. You can pick up your bib there from 3 to 6 p.m. My highest recommendation is to pick up the bib the day before if you can, or if you're in the area. Coming the day before not only gives you one last thing to do on race day, but it gives you a chance to see the full venue set up the way it will be on race day, so you can, visualize a little bit, plan out your day, plan out your race. You can ask all your questions, you can talk to our race crew, and sometimes seeing these things in person sparks a couple questions, and it's really nice to get those out of the way before race day, so that on race day, all you have to do is focus on the event itself. Kind of a perk. The other thing too is that if you are coming the day before, you can pick up from 3 to 6, but at 5 p.m. we'll do an in-person orientation. Usually takes about 45 minutes to an hour. You can show up anytime, but we'll kind of physically walk you through the course and go walk over to the beach and talk about the swim start. Walk to the bike course and talk about that. We'll kind of give you an in-person orientation where you get a chance to ask your questions live with the race director and make sure everything is crystal clear for the morning of. Now, if you don't pick up your bib the day before, that's fine. You still have the option to pick up your bib on the day of the race. We recommend showing up 1 hour before the race. So if your race is at 8, show up at 7. If you're racing at 9, show up at 8, etc., etc. I know an hour might seem like a lot of time, but by the time you show up and you park, you unload your car, you go pick up your bib if you haven't done so already, you do your body marking, your timing chip, you set up your transition zone, you get a small warm-up in, and you bump into a friend before you get to the start line. The hour can really, really fly by. So getting there an hour beforehand gives you a chance to get through that whole checklist without being too frazzled and without being too stressed or rushed getting to the start line. It's the best way to make sure race day goes as smooth as possible. The other thing for this race is we are unlikely to have any registration available on the race day itself. Last year this event sold out, and we're hoping that it does again this year. We hope that you all love it and come back. If anything changes, we'll let you know. But for now, the best way to guarantee your spot into this race is to go online to somersault.ca and sign up well in advance. All right, so let's go over the swim. I'm really excited about this swim venue. So I'll use my cursor here for a little bit. It'll be a similar format to every other swim start we do, where the beach is here, kind of this bluish color, and the water here is highlighted with the course. So we're all going to start on the shore, doing kind of a waterfall start. Everyone will line up on the beach, kind of going in this direction here. The gun goes off, 3, 2, 1, go, and everyone enters the water at their own pace. We're doing what we call chip timing for this event, which we do for most of our events, as opposed to gun timing. So even though the air horn goes off or the gun goes off, your time won't start until your timing chip, i.e. you, cross over the timing mat and into the water. So unless you're planning to be the first one in the water, there's no sense, unless you plan on being the first one out of the water, there's no sense being the first one into the water. We try and recommend that you line up in order of speed or anticipated speed. It's not an exact science, but lining up somewhere where you think you might fit in will minimize the amount of passing and it'll make the swim go a lot smoother. So everyone lines up here on the beach, you go in the water, and you can have the legend here to help you out. But let's just use the 1500 meter Olympic swim as an example. You'll go here, swim buoy A, B, C, D, E, F, and then you come back and do a second loop. So for the 2 loop swimmers, you'll stay in the water and do your 2 loops. You don't come out of the water and go back in. You can if you like. For the 750 swim, it's just a 1 loop with the same buoys. And then once that race is done, the triers will go and do that shorter loop, just like that. So it's pretty straightforward, and the water's fairly shallow. This section here is almost walkable for most people. When you get onto the backside, it's just too deep to touch. But if ever you need anything while you're in the water, we have an excellent water safety team there to help. But if you are caught in a bit of a trouble or panic, or your goggles get knocked off, or you swallowed a bit too much water, what we say is just swim a little bit closer to shore, and once you get around here, you should be able to touch just fine. You can readjust your goggles, adjust anything that needs to be adjusted, and then come back and go back on the course. So easy as that. Now for cutoff times, as long as you finish your swim before the next swim starts, you're good to go. We have plenty of time between races, so it shouldn't be an issue. But if you need to, we can always cut the swim short, get you onto the bike course and the run course, so we can adjust your time later on to show that you did a shorter swim. So as long as you finish the swim before the next race starts, and you can check all the times out at somersault.ca, you'll be good to go there. Oh, and then of course the last reminder is the first reminder. Smile for the camera. Throughout the whole day we'll have plenty of photographers on site from finisher pics. So they'll be taking photos of everybody on the swim, the bike, the run, the post-race, the pre-race, and all that stuff. And when the race is done, you can go online to our website, which we'll post at the end, and enter your bib number or your name and see all the photos that we took throughout the day. It's a cool way to kind of get these free mementos from a job well done and a fun day together at Camp Tri. So the bike course is everyone's favorite part. I'll use my cursor again. You start over here, you come out of the water, grab your bike, get onto the parkway, hop on your bike, and you go across 9 different islands. The most scenic part, I think, is kind of this first section here. This first bridge you go over, you have a beautiful view of the St. Lawrence right into New York State. It's a really nice part of the bike course. Last year we didn't have this section because last year we started from down here and went this way. So for those of you that did race last year, you'll know how nice this is. But I think you'll really be blown away by the course we have set up here. So you'll come on down, you'll bike all the way across 9 different islands. You'll be island hopping the whole way. You get to the far turnaround point and everyone turns around here and you come on back. Once you get back here, you either come all the way to the finish line and get off your bike to go do the run course, or if you're doing multiple loops, you'll turn back here and do a U-turn to do multiple loops back and forth, back and forth. So the only time you're doing this first section is at the start for everybody, and once you're finishing to go to the dismount line. Keep that in mind. So a couple things just to make the day go a little bit smoother. Again, they're all kind of listed on the side there. Smile for the camera. Again, we'll have plenty of photographers on site. Make sure you capture those moments. Show us your game face or your happy face or your grimace, whatever it might be. Make sure you know how many loops you're doing. Again, they're all listed here. It's either 1, 2, or 4 loops, but it's also on somersault.ca. It's also in the pre-race newsletter and whatnot. So make sure you know how many loops you have to do. The cutoff time, we have to be off the bike course by 11 a.m. So there's plenty of time. It shouldn't be an issue for anybody, but if you think you might not make that cutoff, let us know and we can adjust the results on sports stats. We'll still let you kind of go and do the run course afterwards if you need to, but keep that in mind. And then for anyone doing the swim cycle events, your time does not finish when you get off the bike. It finishes when you cross the finish line. So follow me here for a second. You'll start here, do your swim cycle, or the swim portion of your swim cycle, pardon me. Come out of the water, you'll do your bike portion, as many loops as you have to do. And then when you come back in, you'll dismount, rack your bike at the T-zone, and then just run to the finish line. It's only an extra 50 meters or so, but that's when your time will officially end. For anyone doing a triathlon or a duathlon, after you've racked your bike, then it's on to the run course, which we'll talk about right now. The run course, new and improved over last year. I think you guys are going to really, really like it. You come back from the T-zone, which is right here. You rack your bike, grab your shoes, and you head on that same bridge, which I think is going to be really, really fun. Kind of one of the highlights of the bike course and the run course. You run over the bridge, and you go down here. It's a really hard-packed trail. It's all crushed stone, so it's not grass. It's not terrain or anything like that. Really, really hard-packed. So everyone kind of comes and follows the same course. You go all the way down here, following the course. If you're doing a 2.5 kilometer run, you turn around here. So that's our triers. You come back to the finish line. If you're doing a longer run, so a 5K, you come all the way down to the very end, U-turn, and that is a 5K loop. If you're doing a 10K, guess what? You do it twice. Pretty simple stuff. You come back, do the same thing twice, and head on down to the finish line. We'll have a water station right here on the course, so everyone accesses it, even the triers. So when you come down, you'll be able to grab water on the way there and on the way back. So plenty of chances there for you to grab some F2C, some water. Make sure you guys stay hydrated. We'll have lots of volunteers there to help you out, but we have everything you need right on site. Otherwise, the same reminder, make sure you know how many loops you're doing. Make sure you know whether you're turning at the 2.5 or the 5:10 turnaround. One point of clarification is that, again, if you're doing a 2.5 kilometer run, you turn here. That doesn't mean that if you're doing a 5K, you turn here because the sign says 2.5. The sign will say turn here 2.5 kilometer run. So don't confuse that for, let's say 2.5 out, 2.5 kilometer back. That's not a 5K. The 5K is all the way to where it says 5K turn here. So keep that in mind, just so no one does half the distance they need to. And of course, smile for the camera. We'll have photographers on site there and at the finish line. And everyone's favorite part, the post-race. So after the race is done, we'll have all kinds of snacks on site. Everyone will be there to celebrate with you. You'll have your competitors and our volunteers hanging out there. We'll have some non-alcoholic beer from Libra. If you aren't already aware of their product, it's excellent. It's available at Costco and the LCBO now, but you can try it on site for free. We'll also have a little award ceremony for anyone that finished in the top 3 of their age group or overall. It's a chance for you to get a cool podium shot, kind of that Instagram photo. And if you didn't finish in the top 3, you're still welcome to hop on and use some of our props to get a cool Instagram photo. It's there for anybody to use. If you brought the family, you can bring the whole family up, etc., etc. And the 2 questions we get all the time are, where do I see the photos and where are the results? So I'll go in that order here. So the photos are available at photos.somersault.ca. They take about 2 days to go live because once the race is done, we have to tag and kind of organize, upwards of 8,000 photos sometimes, so that everyone knows which photos are theirs. It saves you from clicking through 8,000 photos. So give us a day or 2 to get that done and get it live, but it'll all be posted at photos.somersault.ca. But the results are pretty instant. They're at sportstats.ca. That's our timing provider. They're an Ottawa-based company, and they'll post everything online pretty quickly, if not within a minute of you crossing the finish line. And if you go online and you see any issues, you can come visit them on site. They'll be there. Or you can just send them a quick email. It's corrections@sportstats.ca. You can imagine with hundreds and hundreds of athletes, sometimes the data comes in and it doesn't look quite right, and they have to go through it manually and make some corrections. So if something doesn't look quite right, they're probably still working on it, but you're more than welcome to send them an email and make sure that they're on the case. So that's it. That's the virtual orientation in a nutshell. If you have any questions, email us ahead of time. It's adam@somersault.ca. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have to make sure that you get the most out of race day. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you at the start line, or even better, at bib pickup the day before the race. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.